guys, and welcome back to another Simpsons Treehouse of Horror review. So this one is for the 10th special, which aired in season 11. I would say this one, it's still good. It doesn't quite live up to the one right before it. I would say just straight out of the gate. I kind of had a feeling, just looking at the segment titles, even before going in, that was going to be the case, and wasn't wrong, but it's not bad, it was still enjoyable, so, I mean, it wasn't like a total stinger or anything, just, I feel like at the time when it originally aired, it probably felt more spot on, but, you know, 20-something years down the road, it's like, oh, this is so very dated. But the first segment in it was called I Know What You Diddly Did, which obviously is a parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer. So it starts out with Marge is driving the car home from somewhere, who knows where, and it's a very foggy night, and Homer apparently forgot to install the fog lights because Homer. And they hit something, and she's hoping it's just a dog, and they get out and they look, and it's Flanders, and he's dead. So it's like, oh, shit, what do we do? And it initially almost looks as if Homer's gonna, like, Weekend at Bernie's him, and he's kind of just, like, dragging him around, trying to pass him off to Maude as being, like, not dead, and is trying to find a way to, like, fake his demise in a way to where he could just pass it off as, oh darn, look, he just keeled over down now, and be completely absolved of any wrongdoing. Which is pretty funny. But, they hold a funeral, and Homer keeps putting his foot in his mouth over and over and over, incriminating himself further, and yet nobody catches on somehow. I don't know how, but they don't. But they come home, and all over the front door is painted, I know what you did. And they get inside, and painted on the walls, I know what you did. And all over their car, I know what you did. Like, oh boy. And then there's a shadowy figure with a hook for a hand following them in the darkness. And they're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. And eventually, car runs out of gas. And it turns out the cloaked figure is Flanders. And he's not dead, because apparently you can't kill the undead. And apparently it turns out he's a werewolf. And eats Homer. The end. So I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess. Alright. The second segment in it was Desperately Zeeking Xena. Yes, that Xena. I mean, I don't know that it was necessarily a parody of any given, like, Halloween-themed thing. Obviously, the title was after Desperately Seeking Susan, but that had literally nothing to do with the episode itself other than the title. I guess there's only so much you can do with Xena in the name, but basically, Bart and Lisa end up obtaining superhero powers. Lisa becomes super buff and strong, and Bart kind of becomes, like, Elasto-Man. It's kind of like, think The Incredibles, even though I think this episode aired before that movie, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure, anyway. But totally reminds me of powers from that movie. And the comic book guy is, like, a super villain in this, and he has kidnapped Xena to be his bride. Even though she tells him, I'm not Xena, I'm Lucy Lawless. But, he kidnaps her and holds her prisoner inside, like, a giant collector bag to attach to his wall in between, like, Doctor Who and I forget who else. I think, like, Gilligan was even on the wall, too. It was like, what the hell? It's, like, such a random assortment, but alright, who am I to judge? And Bart and Lisa have to basically come kick his ass and rescue Xena, even though it ends up backfiring and she ends up having to rescue them. It's kind of a contrived little throwaway segment, in my opinion. I feel like, for a Halloween episode, they could have done a hell of a lot better than that one. That one is part of what just really... I mean... It felt like they were reaching a little too hard on this one, and I'm like, oh. Between the dated pop culture references on top of it just not feeling like it belonged in a Treehouse of Horror episode, I was like, don't know about this one. It's not the worst, but at the same time, just like, I could skip it. And then the last one on it was Life's a Glitch, Then You Die, because this was about the Y2K bug and the whole scare and all of that, and what feasibly could happen in a cartoon depiction Halloween horror episode of what could happen if not all of the computers were patched to handle the Y2K bug flawlessly, even though, in hindsight, 20-something years down, we all know that nothing happened at midnight on Y2K. Literally nothing. All of that scare was for nothing. Yes, I was alive during it. I was like 14 when that happened. And yeah, I do remember all the buildup around it, and it was a big fucking deal at the time. And then when literally nothing happened, I was like, I fucking told you so. Because I'd already had the foresight to play with the computer clock on my computer and push it forward to midnight on December 31st, 1999, over into 2000. Literally nothing happened other than it just clicked over to 2000. Literally nothing happened. So I knew damn well nothing's gonna happen at midnight on Y2K. And I was right. But this episode, basically their premise is, if not every computer in the world had been patched for this, if even one had been missed, it could spread the Y2K bug to every other computer and device in the world and cause mass havoc. Which kinda sorta was what everybody was so worried about at the time in real life, but different, I guess. But Homer being Homer never did his because Homer. So he's like, oh, was I supposed to do that? Because I'd be pretty worried right now if I was supposed to do that. And then midnight hits, and sure enough, Homer's computer is the one that is unpatched, and quickly spreads throughout the entire world, the Y2K bug that makes literally any electronic device go haywire and basically grow a mind of its own and go off the rails, trying to take over the earth. Again, like I said, this episode is so dated looking back at it, but at the time was so topical. But yeah, basically it's like the end times now because of Homer's computer. And the only ones being spared is there's a rocket going to Mars, and like the world's finest and brightest minds are allowed to board it. Lisa's on it. She's allowed to take one parent. Obviously, she's taking Marge. And as they're like cruising through the line, I did have to notice Paul McCartney's in the line. Also, another subtle Beatle reference in the episode, as they're in church before they all try to board the rocket. Most of them aren't let on it. Basically, the priest is denouncing all manner of electronics, and even Ned in his Beatle boots, because the priest is denouncing miniskirts and Beatle boots. Ned looks down, I resisted you for 35 years, why did I pick today? It's just like, yep, okay, 2 Beatle references for the price of one within 5 minutes. Got it, love it. Because we all know that Ned is a closet Beatles fan, and I love it. But anyway, so, not the point of the episode, but for me, always a highlight whenever they sneak him in there. So, they board and they're going to Mars, and all of a sudden, Bart and Homer are like, oh look, there's a second rocket and nobody's boarding it, we should get on that one. And they get in and they see it's like basically all the like shittiest reject celebrities on Earth are on here. And all of a sudden realize, we're not going to Mars, we're flying straight into the sun. Oh shit, we're all gonna die. And out pops Rosie O'Donnell flinging koosh balls and singing Judy Garland's The Trolley song. I was like, alright. Okay. 2 of my fandoms hit in one episode. Awesome. And Homer and Bart decide, you know what? Yeah, it's certain death, but it's not coming fast enough. And they hit the eject button, pop out into space, and pop with their heads. And that is the end of the episode. A topical episode, but at the same time, Treehouse of Horror worthy? I don't know. That's where I'm like, this one, definitely lower on how I would rank the episodes, not gonna lie. Even with the pop culture references of which I was so tickled by, I would still rate this one lower in the pecking order just because it didn't feel that much like a Halloween episode. The first segment did. The other two did not. I mean, like, they tried with the last one, but they could have just made that into a regular episode. That didn't even have to be a Halloween episode, but I don't know. This one, I don't know. For me, maybe would rate it like a 2.5 out of 5. Just, it felt very forced, very rushed, and obviously dated now. It wasn't when they made it, but like in hindsight, it's very dated now. So it's just like, hoping that by the following year they popped back up, because I have seen like numerous like dips and lifts in like how good or bad they are throughout the series so far, and I know for a fact there's better ones further down the line, but yeah, this one, it just, for the most part, just didn't do it for me. I mean, it's okay, but as far as the Treehouse of Horror series goes, it just doesn't hold up. But anyways, that is it for this one, guys. So as usual, you know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Etsy, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link as always is down in the description. Anyway, guys, till next time, see ya.